Hey YouTube, today we're going to talk about one of the subjects that a lot of people like to comment on the YouTube University. We're going to talk about ballistics on an AR. And what I have here in front of us is my everyday carry. This is an AR pistol. This happens to be a Wilson Combat AR pistol, and it has a 5.5-inch barrel on it. And a lot of people think that that is not the ideal thing to do, is run an AR pistol with a 5-inch barrel. And if you can see, there's nothing in this. The bolt is open. There's no magazine in it. And we're going to talk about this here for a few minutes. Now, one of the disadvantages that a lot of the YouTube University viewers on YouTube have is this weapon is useless. Said that you have an extreme loss in velocity and a lot of bullet drop when you start running a short barrel on an AR. Well, the normal length for an AR rifle is 16 inches. I know they make them in 20 inches for the bigger rifles, but the most common one is a 16 inch. And when you fire a 62 grain like this, 62 grain bullet out of a 16-inch barrel, you're getting somewhere around a muzzle velocity of 3,000 feet per second. And that's pretty fast moving bullet when fired out of a rifle. Now, when you insert that magazine and you shoot the same ammunition into something like this, that's going to drastically drop down to around 2,000 feet per second. Now, it's not exact science here, folks. I don't have a chart. I don't use charts when I talk to everybody and everything. I want to let you know that that's around, you lose about 1,000 feet per second going from a 16-inch barrel to a 5.5-inch barrel. It gains a little bit more when you go to 7.5 to a 10.5 and whatever have you. But this particular example we're going to be talking about today is a 5-inch. Now, you got to ask yourself something. What are you using the weapon for? And is the drop in velocity still a usable tool? Well, this is an everyday carry. This is a backpack gun that I use every single day. I carry it in a backpack, in my car, carry it in my office, and everything like that. This is what I would call, if I got into a really bad situation, and this would be a self-defense weapon. That's all it is. This is not a precision long-range rifle. As a matter of fact, this is not a rifle at all. This is a pistol. There's no stock on this thing. There's no kind of telescoping scope. There's no front bipod or anything like that. There's no sling on it or anything. This is a pistol, and this is a very powerful pistol. So what I use this for is for self-defense. I have a handgun that I carry on my person all the time, and what I think of that handgun is for is to get me to this. Once you get to this, in a bad situation, you should have no need to use your handgun anymore. The only reason you would refer back to your handgun is if you ran out of ammunition for this. And I have a video on my backpack how I carry several spare backup magazines, 30-round magazines in my backpack. So I should not run out of ammunition. The situation would have to be pretty bad for me to run out of ammunition. Now, let's talk about this 2,000 feet per second velocity. So what this is used for, this is like a 50-yard in weapon. And at 50 yards, this bullet's moving at 2,000 feet per second. And I think that is plenty of velocity. There's going to be no bullet drop whatsoever. You don't have any kind of optics on this thing, on this particular weapon. All I have is regular iron sights right here to pick up. So this long range is not really going to be an option. If you're looking at doing long range shooting, you probably need a rifle, but that's not what this is for. This is a short range, 50 yards and less weapon. This weapon is more than sufficient for 50 yards and inside. Now, can you shoot this at 100 yards and out? You absolutely can. With a little bit of practice, you can shoot a 22 pistol at 100 yards and out. You just have to figure out where to hold, compensate for the bullet drop, and you can hit targets all day long. But we're talking about in a stress situation, what training does for you. Training will allow you to defend yourself with a 5-inch AR pistol within 50 yards. Anything past 50 yards, the person is no longer a threat to you. That's what the general public needs to understand. If you start firing shots at somebody at 100, 150, 200 yards away, that's what they call murder. And murder is illegal the last time I checked. Self-defense is the only time that a weapon should be aimed at another human being, ever. Now, if you're out hunting or anything like that, this is not going to be your ideal weapon. You need a rifle for hunting. Hunting is usually further than 100 yards or further than 50 yards or whatever the situation may be. And you usually use a scope, some type of optics that's magnified so you can see that far. This thing doesn't have any kind of optic on it that magnifies your line of sight. All it is iron sights where you just hold, pick up the front sight and aim in the general direction and do the best shot placement you can. So all the people that think that a short barrel AR is worthless, they're wrong. You have to have your weapon for whatever situation that you want to use the weapon for. And this particular weapon I think of as a self-defense, close quarters weapon. Now, 50 yards and less is as far as I'm ever planning on using this for. When I take this gun to the range and practice with it, I don't stretch it out past 50 yards. I have the iron sights dialed in where I could put them through the same hole at 50 yards all day long. I don't have to compensate for bullet drop. I don't have to do any of that stuff. All I had to do was adjust the sights on it, and it hits the same place every time. And I practice drills, picking the weapon up, acquiring the target quickly, and deploying the ammunition through it. But this is a great weapon. This is a great option because it's very compact. You know, it's only 5 inches long. This actually fits in a backpack. See, it's not much longer than my hand, to be honest with you. And keep in mind, folks, this is a pistol. That's what it's for. This is not meant to shoulder up to your shoulder and hold it like a rifle. It's too small for that. It's just too short of sight radius. It's very hard to do. It doesn't have any kind of stock on it or anything like that. So anyway, folks, I just wanted to discuss the stuff because people really get nasty when you start talking science, and people don't like things that are outside of the box. And this is a little bit outside the box. This is not meant to precision shoot at 1,000 yards. And I understand that. And what people on YouTube and other social media platforms need to understand is there are more than one use for the same type of weapon. If I wanted to go out shooting long range, this is not going to be what I pick. I'm going to pick an AR rifle with a 16-inch barrel where it's moving at 3,000 feet per second, and I'm going to have some type of optic on it that has some type of magnification where I can see that far. But this thing is perfect for close quarters, 50 yards and less, self-defense, and it does do the trick. You don't need a bullet moving 3,000 feet per second. 2,000 feet per second at 50 yards will do just as much damage as 3,000 feet per second. So if anybody has any questions on this or anything like that, I know this isn't completely scientific. It's just a quick rundown of why a short barrel AR is not useless, like a lot of people think it is. So, have any questions on what I use this rifle for or any of the specs on it, I have another video that just goes into this whole entire little AR pistol. Feel free to reach out to me. And as always, folks, thank you very much for watching my video, and you folks have a great day.